What was your first job? I'm here with my friend Jenny. Before we get into all things that she does, I want to ask Jenny, what was your first job?
My very first job was actually working in a retail store my parents own, still to this day, actually, but it's a hunting and fishing store. So I worked in there, sold everything from fishing rods to lures to worms.
That's great.
And yeah, that's where I kind of learned the first insights to customer service and dealing with people every day. That was my first job.
I love that. A couple of things I want you to do. You have got to Google Nate Bargatze. He's an amazing
I
comedian,
totally
and
follow him.
he has a huge segment on those hunting and fishing stores. And he went to one that were like, should all the guns just be out for people to be using? So it's very good. I'm glad you shared that. One of my first jobs was working in the restaurant industry as a bus person, and it taught me people skills.
Yeah.
But now it's 2023,
hmm
and we're both over 20 years old.
hmm
And we talk about getting people skills to a younger generation,
Yeah.
but there's no people skills university. What would you tell a younger person about how valuable people skills are, how valuable face-to-face interaction is, even in this online world that we have?
Yeah. It's absolutely invaluable to build those skills early on. And I think that there's lots of different ways that people can build them with their young. Um, I'm doing it right now with my kids. So my oldest daughter is 14 and she is, they're all so consumed in their digital presence.
Yes.
But I'm forcing her to be out and getting a job and being in front of people and learning how to deal with people who are pleased but also not happy, and the ways to manage that, and then also be able to shake it off that sometimes people have unrealistic
Yes.
expectations. As long as you guys can do the best you can do, then they have to be resilient with that. But I think it's just about jumping in and putting yourself in situations that maybe
I
don't
think it's okay. I
necessarily
mean,
feel comfortable.
and also, while there's so much value to connecting online and building relationships and should continue to do both, face to face, you have to do real time reactions. You have to
Yeah.
process the words that came out of someone else's mouth and react real time. And you had to do that at the hunting and fishing store. I had to
Yep.
do that at the restaurant. I really appreciate you sharing that. I want to shift into Patient News is an awesome sponsor of what we do. Dental Nachos, Dentist Job Connect is helping practices hire associates. Tell us a little bit about what Patient News does. And you have a group practice arm to what you do too. So maybe kind of share how you help group practices. I know you help solo practices too, but what do groups do different? So tell us a little bit about what Patient News does to help dentists and especially groups.
Sure. So, yeah, we do have two separate divisions. So we have our solo to small group division, which I would help manage. But then we also have a group division, kind of where anyone owns more than 10 practices is usually the threshold. And then from there, our intention at Patient News is really to uncover where we can help practices to stand out in different parts of the patient journey. So we investigate everything in a discovery process to understand, what their goals are, um, what kind of patients they're looking to attract to their
Yeah.
practice, because it's super important when we're building a campaign and I should circle back that Patient News is a marketing team. So we've been in the dental industry for 30 years, and we now offer everything from digital to direct mail marketing. And we have a Practice Zebra component that helps everyone track those campaigns, which is one of our big standout processes, is our ability to track right down to dollars being spent on marketing programs. So I should have said that first.
I love that. Well, we use people can text mistakes to 215-543-6454 because you don't want to make marketing mistakes. So if I said, this is a thing that tells you which foods you are eating that are mistakes to not allow you to be the weight you want to be. No judgment on that weight. People would say, get me that thing immediately.
Yeah.
Is it the Cinnamon Toast Crunch that's doing that? And you have this for marketing. You've done this with our practice. We use you for direct mail. So tell people about Practice Zebra, whether they're one practice, 10 practices, 5 practices. How do you take this agnostic look at their marketing and give them feedback on what's working, but more importantly, what might be a mistake?
Sure. So we have the ability with Practice Zebra, everyone in our consultation stage gets the ability to connect to Practice Zebra complimentary. So that connection to Practice Zebra gives some initial analysis on their practice statistics. So some practices come to me and they just, Jenny, I need more new patients. I just can't seem to get enough new patients in the door. However, when we get them connected to Practice Zebra, we identify that they're actually getting a lot of new patients, but those new patients aren't rescheduling, or they're coming in one time and just disappearing. So there's a couple of different things we can find out from that. One is, well, maybe the marketing you're doing right now is just ineffectively attracting patients that are just not your most ideal patient type, and those patients are coming in one time and just leaving again. Or there's maybe some internal
Right.
struggles. Maybe we're not getting people scheduled in the way they should be when they're leaving. Therefore, if that's the case, and we do identify that in the beginning stages, internal changes can be made before we start on a more strategic new patient acquisition program.
I love what
Because
you're saying, because too many of us as practice owners, you should have run a whole campaign. More new patients is not the answer, because all of us, me included, made mistakes saying, I just need more new patients. But if I am not keeping them in the practice, if I'm not moving them along with treatment plan acceptance, more new patients actually winds up being a waste of money. Have you seen that
yeah,
with clients?
yeah, we definitely have, which is why it's so nice with Practice Zebra, because it allows us to say, okay, yes, I can help you get better new patients. I can help you with that. But we need to also focus on all of the things that may impact the success of that marketing program. Does your team answer the phone live?
Yeah.
How do they do converting a new patient opportunity? If they get tough questions around insurance, maybe you're in network or out of network insurance, how do they handle those questions? And can they still potentially control the call to get somebody to come in? So there's lots of different ins and outs and ways that a marketing campaign success can be hindered. So with Practice Zebra, we set it all up for success at the beginning. We identify any gaps, and then we execute on an effective marketing campaign. We track it ongoing and allow people to really understand exactly what's happening with their campaigns, where it can do better, and continuously grow.
I love that. I mean, if you want to talk dentists, I can help you with them. When you say to some of your prospective clients, you know how your patients come in and they want their teeth whitened, but they really need to work on their bone shrinkage, which is periodontal disease. They have to work on this. It's your job to have that tough conversation and say, I know you want your teeth whitened, but let's make a strategic plan to get you healthy. And you guys are doing the same thing, because any of these dentists are saying teeth whitening for new patients, but you say, hey, let's pull back a minute and make sure. And one thing, if you say this to dentists, they'll just listen to you, Jay, and say, we want to make sure you don't waste your money. They go, okay, well, we're the cheapest people on earth. So we want to make sure we don't waste your money. One of the things I want to ask you next is, we run Dentist Job Connect. People can text hire to 215-798-9897. We help dentists hire their first, their fifth, or their 50th associate. Just in connecting in this space and going to conferences, have you seen hiring associate dentists to grow, turnover of associate dentists? Have you seen this as part of the challenges of our dental profession?
It's definitely a challenge. I feel like every third dentist I speak with, their goal is to find the right fit when it comes to an associate dentist so that they can accommodate the growth they're looking to dream of getting. And of course, I know you talk about this a lot too, but really just alleviating some of the pressure on themselves
Yeah.
that's been in the practice for a lot of years for a lot of dentists. So yeah, and I'm often recommending that people do reach out to you guys at Dentist Job Connect, because it is sometimes a barrier. People will call me and say, I got to put all my marketing on hold. I lost my associate.
Yeah. And one of the things I'll share is, and I was saying, I've never been a new mom, but I've lived with a new mom, and I could see the stress and I tried to make it less worse, but I wasn't a new mom, right? But I would say, hey, how can I help you marry, find more time to exercise, find more time to yourself, right? But I don't know that feeling. But as a dentist, when you're the only person who's licensed to do the thing and there's nobody else licensed to do the thing, it doesn't matter if you have the friendliest front desk in the world. It doesn't matter if you have the hardest working assistant. It doesn't matter if you have the happiest hygienist. You feel totally alone, because when you are the only person licensed to pull the tooth, drill on the tooth, look at the tooth, it's just incredibly stressful. And we encourage people to look to hire an associate in a proactive way, not a reactive way, because when they get those new patients, Jenny, and I just talked to someone who has like 2,300 new patients, 2,300 patients for one dentist. I'm like, you need an associate a year ago. I go, I know. They're just not being proactive. And that's what I like about Patient News, because you're helping people be proactive with their marketing strategies. So that, I mean, I'll ask this question. Have you ever gotten so many new patients for a practice that you've caused them a capacity problem because they didn't have the capacity to handle it?
Yeah, we absolutely have like it's a frequent hiccup that we do hit, where people will hit a point where they're like, we typically uncover it because we'll identify that conversion rates slip, and we can't figure out why people are not scheduling, but it's because they're booking way too far in advance. They're pushing out appointments, trying to push new patients way too far.
Right.
And that's kind of that first indicator to, okay, well, what are we doing here? Do we have the new patient block in the schedule? Yes, you do. You're filling them too fast. Well, I don't know that we want to keep spending money when you can't accommodate these new patients until you hire an associate or things calm down, right? So yeah, it's absolutely something we see.
And also, you know, it's hard to tell people that they have a problem that needs to be taken care of and then say you can see them in 10 weeks to take care of it. It's just inconsistent in their brain when that happens. So I just think that, you know, what you guys are doing is having dentists take a hard look at what's happening so that they can move forward strategy. Now, Practice Zebra, can people in the Nacho community, can they test it out for free? How does it work? Tell them more about that. If they're like, hey, I want to use this Practice Zebra to analyze my marketing, I know it's agnostic. Tell us how that works.
Yeah, so we have, if you reach out to us, we will offer a free market research report, is basically the summary of what it is. So you'll get a full demographic analysis, and we'll review it with you to make sure it makes sense. You'll also get complimentary audit of your online presence to see how everything's operating there. And then you'll get a free connection to Practice Zebra. So you'll get connected, look at your actual statistics, things like your active patients plotted on a map and sorted by value. All of that will be available completely free in our consultation stage.
I mean, it's just something that our whole audience should take advantage of. We did it, and you always learn something. If you went to a gym and they gave you an analysis of your flexibility, your strength, and your endurance, you would leave learning something to make a better plan. And dentists, you know, I say this, sometimes we're too busy to be successful. We're running around, we're seeing patients, but we're not kind of taking that time out. And this is a great opportunity for them to do that. Now, as we wrap up, Jenny, people can reach out to Patient News, our awesome sponsor for this deal. They can text mistakes to 215-543-6454. But what do you see happening in the next 6 months or a year with marketing? Is direct mail still relevant? Are people doing pay-per-click ads? Just kind of give us your Jenny view of marketing techniques that you see being relevant or irrelevant over the next 12 months.
Yeah, I don't think that any marketing is bad marketing as long as it's done effectively and tracked. So that would be my biggest message. I think that before you go ahead and execute a marketing campaign, dig into the ins and outs of your practice, create an avatar, patient avatar, know who you want to attract and where you're going to find them. That's going to be so important. So just set it up for success from the beginning. Direct mail is extremely effective. So is digital advertising. So I think that many of my clients do both cohesively, and it works beautifully.
That's what we do. I mean, direct mail is amazing for us, for both everything from you help us with our hygiene center for people to know that we're here to help them with just their solid preventive care to implant dentistry. And I think that even I think it's a total myth that only older people like direct mail. I think I'll see direct mail in my mailbox. I'll pick it up and look at it, whether it's a new place in Philadelphia. I do think even this digital age that paper still has value when you're really what you make is an educational brochure
Yeah.
and it teaches people things. And I think that, I don't know if a local automotive place kind of had a nice direct mail piece of me not changing my oil enough and my car not running right, I probably would learn something from it. So I actually asked that question knowing my answer. I still love direct mail, even in this digital age. And I think
Same.
it's something dentists should look at something classic to continue. It's a classic way to connect with patients.
And it's honestly a misconception that millennials don't respond to direct mail, and that it is a lot of people think, yes, if you're going after the older generation, direct mail is the only way to go. But to be honest, it's almost standing out even more for the younger generation because we are so digital. So when you
Yeah.
get something really effective in the mailbox, then it's going to drive what you need.
Yeah, I think it's great. Well, I really appreciate you sharing your first job, hunting and fishing. Check out Nate Bargatze. You guys are amazing
I will.
sponsors. Text mistakes to 215-543-6454 or reach out to us at dentistjobconnect.com to learn more about patient news. And if we can help you hire an associate, please text hire to 215-798-9897. Thanks so much for sharing with me, Jenny.
Thanks, Paul.